Hello, BookTube. Well, our streak continues. I have mail. And that's amazing to me. I was fully prepared. Once publishers stopped sending books, once there was nobody in their mail rooms, nothing like that, I was fully prepared for all of my new books to be electronic. Publishers, the publicists that I write to every day, they have stepped up right away and made the flow of review copies, of course, has not stopped. It can't. Publishers still want word out about their book, and electronic copies sell. So there's still need for reviewers, and therefore there's still need for review copies. But there's no good angling a tablet to show you an electronic copy. I'll have to, if that becomes the only way that things are done, I will have to do that. I'll have to figure out a way to do that. Maybe with an e-ink screen. I'm sure I have a Kindle or a Nook somewhere here that has e-ink as a screen. So you wouldn't get color, but you also wouldn't get glare. Maybe I should look into that. But in the meantime, I was prepared for the mail to just dry up completely. But it has, every day this week, we have had mail. I'm not complaining at all. So we've got 3 packages here, and one of them is a box. And the box is a repurposed Amazon box, so it may be a gift from one of you. You've seen, if you've been watching these videos this week, you've seen people have been sending me presents. You've been sending me presents, and that is very strange. That is a very strange feeling. For most of our time together, I have been sending you things, and that's the way God intended it. But I always tell people, don't send me a book, no matter what you do. Send me Oreos, but don't send me a book, because there's no chance, almost no chance, that you'll send me a book that I'll want. But several of you have been taking that risk anyway, and sometimes I've been pleased, very pleased. So we'll see if that box is what it is. It doesn't look like it was packed by a publisher, but let's see. The first one definitely was packed by a publisher. So let's see what this first one is. It's completely stuck inside one of these things. I swear, they're surviving a pandemic. They'll probably survive a nuclear apocalypse. These adhesive cardboard boxes that are sticky on the inside, so you have to sort of tear the thing apart, or it's going to stick to everything. There we go. All right, what have we got here? Oh, good Lord. Okay, a huge invoice. I don't need that. What is this? Oh, my. Oh, goodness. How wonderful. Okay, great. This is not brand new, I believe. This is, 1989. What is going on here? Was this just reprinted, just for the fun of it? This is Where Joy Resides, a Christopher Isherwood reader, with an introduction by Gore Vidal. This is, I had a copy of this when it first came out. Oh, how wonderful, though. I wonder why. See, the problem is, since there are no publicists aren't at their desks, and almost nobody's in their mailroom. So if a publicist wants to send you something, they're putting in an order to their warehouse. So they aren't able to stick in any kind of explanation or paperwork of any kind. So I don't know exactly why I got this. I'll have to look it up. This is from Picador. They do great, really high-quality paperbacks. This is going to be a $20 paperback at some point. I assume maybe it's out already. And this is a reprint of the Christopher Isherwood Reader, where you've got just selections from this author, from his shorter stuff, his longer works. How wonderful. Boy, that's totally unexpected. Okay, I'm going to have to look this up and see. Maybe Picador is reprinting this just now, just for the fun of it. The copyright information does not mention 2020. It mentions that the date of the anthology and the publication right of the essay. Gore Vidal wrote an essay about Christopher Isherwood that was then repurposed as the introduction to this book. And both of those, the copyright information is noted, but nothing 2020. So it could just be that I'm just getting a reprint. That's kind of strange. I'm not complaining at all, not at all. This next one is a priority mail envelope, which, again, usually that is not a publisher. Usually that is one of you. So I could have 2 presents here, and that would be a little above and beyond. A little above and beyond. I know. What have we got here? It's 2 books. Oh my. Okay. Oh, well, oh boy. Okay. All right. This makes me very happy. Very, very happy. Those of you who are new to this channel, we just passed 7,000 subscribers, so there are people who are new here. I am a professional book critic. I'm a book reviewer. I have been for a long time a book reviewer, and I write for a lot of places. I'm not one of these anointed children of privilege who has a column for the New York Times, and that's all they do. and they're amply well compensated for that. I am a junkyard dog. I am an Old Bailey hack. So I write for anybody who will write me a check, even if it bounces. So I have a number of venues. And one venue that I have that I love is the Martha's Vineyard Gazette. The Vineyard Gazette is an old-style broadsheet fold-out newspaper for the island resort of Martha's Vineyard off the coast of Massachusetts. Which I say island resort, but the Vineyard has a long and storied history. A home of whaling, as you know if you've read Moby Dick, a home for ordinary people to this day, and also a massive seasonal influx of tourists. Massive. Because the Vineyard is beautiful, and I have spent many, 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 many hours on the Vineyard. Enormous amounts of time, whole seasons, and I know every inch of it. I used to know a lot of people there, including the editor of the Vineyard Gazette a long, long time ago. May he rest in peace. And through happenstance, I had become a book reviewer for the Vineyard Gazette, for the Vineyard Bookshelf feature of the Vineyard Gazette. But like everywhere else, the Vineyard Gazette was hit by the pandemic. And the offices closed, and the impression I got from my editor was, well, I guess farewell until we meet again. It was not funereal, but it was kind of this is going to be a long interruption, maybe game changing, maybe landscape changing interruption, and that has recently eased a little, and that is great. That is a great pleasure to me. I heard from him. And now I'm getting mail from him. These are my next two assignments. How wonderful. Okay, so this first one is by Jennifer Smith Turner. I should keep his note, shouldn't I, since it has practical information. Okay. All right. Here, let me put this in here so I will lose these things. The first one is by Jennifer Smith Turner, and it is called Child Bride, a coming-of-age novel. In the segregated South of the mid-1900s, 14-year-old Nell bears witness to a world that embraces the oppression of women. Married off when she turns 16, she journeys from the South to the city of Boston, where she must quickly learn first how to be a wife to a controlling and emotionally abusive husband, and then how to be a mother. After giving birth to 3 children, Nell's body begins to fail her. Her husband, concerned with her health, pulls away from her physically. But this void of intimacy drives Nell into the arms of another man, Charles, an encounter that leads to another pregnancy and another unanticipated adventure for Nell. Okay, great. Okay. All right. This comes out. The date on it is April 2020 from Shark Press, a small publisher. I mean, you're clearly supposed to notice that the young woman on the cover is black. Is Nell black? Is her husband black when they go to Boston? They journey from the South to Boston in the mid-1900s. Oh, I wonder if she is, if the main character is black, I wonder if she ends up at the famous black enclave on the Vineyard. For a long time, that was one of the storied parts of the Vineyard's history, is that it was a place where if you were a black American, you could go there and live a normal life without stupid innuendo and brutish racism. There was a little enclave of beautiful houses and businesses where you could go and just live as a normal person the way you're supposed to, instead of being surrounded by bigots on all sides. I wonder if that's where she goes. I wonder if that's a chapter in this book. That would be wonderful if it made some use out of that. Well, I'll find out. And then the next one is something I have my eye on anyway. I already have my eye on this book. I didn't think of it in terms of the Vineyard Gazette, and I had a reviewer in mind for this, for Open Letters Review, and now we're going to have complimentary reviews because I will be reviewing it elsewhere. This is by Skip Finley, and this is Whaling Captains of Color, America's First Meritocracy. And this has a date of April, I believe. No, June. This is June, so I will do the second of the two. Let's see what we have here. The history of whaling as an industry as an industry on this continent has been well told in books, including some that have been bestsellers. But what hasn't been told is the story of whaling's leaders of color in an era when the only other option was slavery. Whaling was one of the first American industries to exhibit diversity. A man became a captain not because he was white or well-connected, but because he knew how to kill a whale. Along the way, he could learn navigation and reading and writing. Whaling presented a tantalizing alternative to mainland life. Working with archival records at whaling museums and libraries and from private archives and interviews with people whose ancestors were whaling masters, the author culls stories from the lives of over 50 black whaling captains to create a portrait of what life was like for these leaders of color on the high seas. And that is just fascinating. Of course, you don't have to think any further than Moby Dick, where the crew of the Pequod includes people who are slated to have a lay of the prophets. They are slated to have a chunk of the profits. And a 3-year-long whaling vessel, a 3-year-long whaling cruise, could come back to Nantucket with that being a fair amount of money. So you would get a fair amount of money. And the Pequod's crew is every race under the sun, every skin color under the sun. And there's never any mention that their profits will somehow be garnered, or that they're working for something else, or that they won't be entitled to their share of the meritocracy side. This is going to be fascinating. Who is this author? The former broadcasting executive who is responsible for over 40 U.S. radio stations and experienced success in all areas of radio. Attempting retirement since age 50. I love the way that's put. Yeah, it's not an easy thing to do. You have to attempt it many times. He keeps returning to communications, currently in marketing at the Vineyard Gazette Media Group on Martha's Vineyard, where he has summered since 1955. Good Lord. For 5 years, the author wrote the weekly Oak Bluffs Town column and is a contributor to several publications in the area of whaling and history. Oh boy. All right, so this is... Okay, so fantastic. So it's a venue. It's reviewing, but also I want to read both these things. And then we get to the box. This thing, it's heavy, and someone has repurposed an Amazon box. So who knows what this is? This is not from a publisher. This is going to be from you. And I swear, you people, you shouldn't be sending me books. You're spoiling me rotten. What is this? It's a great big thing. What have we got here? Get this out of the way. Let's see. There's a note. Oh, now come on. Oh. How did you even remember? How do you people remember these things? I've talked about thousands of books on this channel. Oh. Incredible. Okay, a long time ago on this channel, I was talking about, it must have been 100 videos ago or more. I think the connection, if I remember correctly, was that Olive, at a book Olive, was talking about how she loves Reader's Digest editions of books. For a long time ago, Reader's Digest made a collection, a whole shelf, a whole bookcase of hardcover classics of books. And they had a lot of them original artwork, and they were really well done. They're a wonderful thing. They're a wonderful thing to find at a flea market or a yard sale, and they're wonderful editions of books to have. And I think she was singing their praises, and I think I mentioned in a video that I saw that video and I loved it, and that I also have extremely fond memories of Reader's Digest editions of books, that I wish I had some of them, maybe not all of them, but the Sherlock Holmes volumes were well worth having, and a couple of others. The Moby Dick volume was well worth having. And I made a mention, I think this is when I did it, I made a mention in that video that my favorite Reader's Digest edition of a book, and keep in mind, these aren't abridgments, that was not that part of Reader's Digest, these were full-blown books. I mentioned that I love, for instance, the Reader's Digest edition of Innocents Abroad by Mark Twain, and Roughing It. But I said that of all of them, my favorite one was the Reader's Digest Bible. The Bible. Because it was lavishly illustrated. It was the most beautiful volume they ever did. It was it's sort of on the borderline between the Reader's Digest editions of normal canonical classic books and the big illustrated Reader's Digest coffee table books that they also did. It was sort of in between those two things, and it was gorgeous. And this is it. This is the Reader's Digest Bible. One of you remembered that I said that and sent it to me. Got it online and had it sent to me. What is the matter with you? Or I shouldn't say that. You either got it online and had it sent to me, or you had a copy and sent me your copy. In fact, I'm pretty sure it would probably be the latter. This is amazing. It has black and white spot illustrations, but it also has lots of color as well. What it does is it has a supplementary feature where you see the Bible through great paintings. And Reader's Digest just paid the bill to get all of these great signature biblical paintings of all the famous episodes in the Bible. I remember enthusing about this on this channel. I remember saying not only is it my favorite Reader's Digest edition of a work of canonical literature, but it's one of my favorite Bibles. And here it is. I don't know what's wrong with you people. That is so wonderful. I have it now. I have the so okay. All right. Well, I don't know what to say. You know who you are. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. I'm stunned. I'm just stunned. This has just bumped everything to one side. All right. Well, anyway, that is our mail. So we have the Reader's Digest Bible. Incredible. Then my next 2 assignments for the Vineyard Gazette, I will make sure to let you know when they appear. If you're not subscribed to the Marston Vineyard Gazette, why aren't you? True, it's a small town newspaper, and it largely deals, the news parts at the beginning deal with the news of the vineyard. But there are reviews, there are great editorials, and there are columns in the back about gardening and bird watching and nature. Just a thought. And Where Joy Resides. A new printing of an old great anthology of Christopher Isherwood. So I'm going to have to look that up. I don't know why I would get that. But that is the mail. And boy, oh boy, boy, oh boy, I don't know what to say. I don't have enough self-control on this channel to not mention books that I don't have that I want. But if you're going to start buying everything that I mentioned that I want, what am I going to do? All right, well, anyway, I'm going to wrap this up for now. Obviously, all of my reading plans have been derailed to spend a couple of hours here with the good book. So I'm going to go do that. But I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.